As the senator from North Dakota just mentioned, we are here coming to the floor to talk about the importance of the reauthorization of the Export-Import Bank. Mr. President, there are a lot of issues here that are contentious and controversial, and there are arguments to be had on both sides, but this one frankly puzzles me. I do not understand why the Congress has not moved with alacrity to reauthorize an agency of the federal government that fills a gap in the private market which is not filled by private enterprise, which has been in business for over 80 years, which helps and assists businesses large and small across America, and returns money to the Treasury. This is not a cost to the Treasury. This is not some kind of budget bill that will save us from our deficit. This actually will increase the deficit because this agency makes a net return to the taxpayers. When this General Electric last week announced the possible layoff of 500 people across the country and the moving of the jobs overseas because other countries, virtually every other industrialized country in the world, has an export-import bank, an export promotion authority that is comparable to what we do. So General Electric says we're going to have to go where they provide that kind of support. One of the staff members of the committee in the other body, which has voted or not reauthorize this committee, said, well, for General Electric, this is a drop in the bucket. Well, Mr. President, of those 400 or 500 jobs that General Electric is talking about, 80 of them are at a General Electric plant in Bangor, Maine. And 80 jobs, good jobs in Bangor, Maine is not a drop in the bucket. And I would invite that staff member to come to Bangor, Maine and talk to the families of those people who are going to lose their job because of this ridiculous policy of not reauthorizing a governmental agency that is serving the public needs of this country, particularly in an age of expanding global trade. We are competing with the rest of the world, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot in the process. It simply makes no sense. And I have visited with small businesses in Maine, as few as 35 jobs, which depend upon the actions of the Export-Import Bank in order to be able to finance their receivables from foreign countries, and then they can compete in the international marketplace. There is simply no reason to not move with some speed to reauthorize this agency. We are penalizing American businesses in global competition for no good reason that I can discern. If there are issues at the bank with its management or whatever, let's fix those. Let's have hearings. Let's find what the problems are and fix them, but not eliminate an agency that is doing good and returning money to the taxpayers, particularly at this moment in American and world history where international trade and exports are so important. So I hope that my colleagues on both houses, on both sides of the aisle, will join with us to make a simple reauthorization of this of the Export-Import Bank so that it can continue to do the good work that it's done on behalf of businesses in Maine and North Dakota and Texas and California and New York and all over this country. This is just common sense. There are things around here that I understand we have controversies about and we can argue about, but I have not heard any argument that holds any water as to why this agency should not be continued and allowed to provide the benefits that it has and does and will to the businesses and, more importantly, the employees of those businesses all across the country. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.